As just a guitar player, what makes, in your mind, what makes a really great guitar player? What is it about? What are the qualities that someone has or the way that they approach it that you, in your mind, makes for the best type of musician?
Thanks for asking. And I think, everybody, of course, you ask 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different answers. But for me personally, it's about the intention and the integrity behind the note. I mean, there's there's so many scales and notes and all this stuff, but it's what's behind that. What is the intention? What is the feeling? What is the story that's behind that? Even if I don't know the person, are they, they don't have to be looking like they're on fire while they're playing, like screaming. It could be somebody who's very, very kind of stoic, almost like Derek Trucks. If you think about Derek,
Yes.
sometimes he's stoic, but you're watching him play and you're like, you are on fire because it's so powerful, right?
Yeah.
So I think, there's anybody who's playing with that intention and integrity that's tuned in to what's going on inside, perhaps open to receiving something. And I think, really trying to spread love through the opportunity to be playing music, right? Whether there's COVID or whether it's just, a world without COVID. I think it's such an opportunity to have, have a microphone and to have a chance to talk to people about, what's important or what you've been through in your lifetime. And not just about, hey, buy my stuff, look how much cash I have. Like, it's so empty. I mean, maybe that's fun for a minute for people but as you start growing and expanding, it's really about, for me, if somebody is, they're able to kind of like open their heart to you a little bit, show you some vulnerability, show you who they are. That's what to me makes somebody who's really special. Carlos Santana, when he plays, I feel that. When Albert Collins, when he plays, I feel that. These are some of the greats of all time, but I think for me, that's what I'm looking for. Other people are looking maybe for more of a cerebral trip, and that's great. That's awesome. Sometimes I like a nice middle point. Someone like Eric Johnson, I really love because there's such a technical aspect, so much technique to his playing. Yet there are times where he plays things that are just very moving. It doesn't have to be his most flamboyant passages either. It could be something very simple. But yeah, those are, for me, that's what's most important.
That's interesting, Philip, that you talk about that too. Kind of talking about guitar players and what makes a really great guitar player. You have some guitar players out there who just have this really wide vocabulary and they can just play everything that you throw at them. And not all of them play original stuff. And then maybe you have, another guitar player who plays something that's a bit more simpler, but it's just something that kind of resonates with people.
Yeah.
I guess it's an interesting question because it's so subjective, everything but kind of with what drives, guitar players and how people think or rate, I guess, music. I mean, obviously it's not a competition, but it's just kind of interesting how people perceive that and perceive guitar players based on different tastes like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly like the background, like where you're coming from and, what you grew up listening to, or, sometimes a lot of times the way that, people express themselves through art is like, the way things they experienced when they were a kid growing up. Were people nice to them? Were they not nice to them? Or did they have good experiences, or did the bad ones leave certain trauma that then comes out in the music they write and play? Like, not that you have to be living with a broken heart all the time. But again, like just to mention, like AJ, we were talking about earlier, something about his playing feels deep, like really deep and very special when I listen to it. I don't know what it is. I just, and to each, grabs all our ears differently, but I guess it's just something about the intention and the sincerity of the note, the sincerity of the moment, Yeah, I don't know. Willie, any thoughts on your end? Like what?
I agree with a lot of what you've said, in that I think that one of the things that really grabs me is I believe that, music is an interesting medium. I understand why people write books. I understand why people paint pictures. There's a very good reason for that throughout our human evolution. And with music, it's like, this story just means a little bit more when it goes along to notes and time and rhythm. And so what I really like are the people sort of in the same vein as what you said, who can sort of have a way to get into that subconscious, that the story really means something when they're playing it or singing it. They have, for lack of a better term, they get in the zone, and then they can open and uncover things that we couldn't really reach or realize if it weren't put to music. And the people who can really do that, and like you said, make you feel, make you learn something about yourself through listening to them, I feel like that's sort of pretty close to magical. And like
Yeah.
you said, I love the idea where, yeah, like there's some good humor and maybe there's some boasting about, look at this money or this car, but like the really great songs are ones that are talking about deeper things. And I think that sadly, this has been a really rough year, and it still is. I
Mhm.
think there's going to be some songs that will come out of this because there's been a lot of pain and there's been a lot of trauma in this year. And I think that we all are going to get to hear some people's takes on it that will really blow our minds and make us remember. And I think that's what music is great, whether it's a guitar player or a pianist or a cellist or what have you. It's just digging into that human subconscious, our shared collective sort of energy, or I don't know, but stuff like that. I feel like it's magic.
Yeah, and Philip, you're
Agreed.
such a great guitar player, and people know you as this phenomenal guitarist. To you,
Oh,
what is the one intangible? What do you think is the biggest intangible that has driven you on the guitar and would really turn someone into a great guitar player?
wow. I think just there's a hunger. I just want to get better. I just want to learn more. I just want to play whatever I played yesterday better today. I want to write the song that I was working on yesterday. I want to make it better today. Or the sound, the tone, whatever it is, the way I'm singing. I want to do it, whatever I was able to do yesterday. Okay. What can I do to improve that today? And that's sort of my goal through always learning, always wanting to make it better. Even if you think you know something, for me, it's like there's room to improve on it, right? There's room to make it slinkier, room to do something that I hadn't thought of before with it. So I think always driving and pushing myself to improve and to stretch for more.
And I
And
guess the
so,
challenge there then would be staying motivated. So how do you keep yourself motivated on a day by day basis?
well, I'm sure I've said this to you before, but anytime I ask Alexa to play Albert Collins, I get one note and I'm fully gone. I'm fully charged. I need to get to the guitar, or if just the right thing comes on. I was listening to this Eric Clapton performance live. It was actually an '80s performance, and it just was like, oh yeah, boom. It was just him playing. The band was waiting. He was playing this sort of rhythmic thing that you don't always hear him do. I was like, oh, I am so into that. I'm so excited. I think just constantly going to the well, that well of inspiration of all the players that I loved when I was, 10 years old, are still the players that I love today. Maybe I've added some more to the group as I've discovered them, as as we go along or whatever. But I think just trying to be respectful of the music and the people that have played it, and honestly, I love it. So I just really love it. So I want to keep getting better. I want to keep learning.